When Gabriela looks back at her life 10 years ago as a working mum with 3 kids, her life was defined by discipline and structure. So much that she was looking for a way forward and started to explore the meaning of consciousness. At that point though, her thinking was so structured that in her mind, the way forward was to get a diploma in Master of Consciousness. Little did she know that her path to consciousness took very different turns. My name is Thorsten Lüdecke, and this is the Wisdom Qigong podcast. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Wisdom Qigong podcast. Today I have Gabriela Perezcano with me. She is from Mexico, a well-known Zhineng Qigong teacher. And I spoke to her and I said, what would you like to talk about? And Gabriela said to me, listen, when I first started, the word consciousness didn't really mean anything to me. I was always wondering, what is it actually about? And through Zhineng Qigong, I discovered what consciously actually is, and I learned so much about it. So I think we should just start right at the beginning, Gabriela. Consciousness, before you started this journey, what did it mean to you, or what were your questions?
Hi, Thorsten, and thank you for having me. What I tell you is actually what happened to me. I heard this word probably all of my life, not really knowing what it was all about. And if anything, I would immediately link it to the moral consciousness, either good or bad. No, and that was it. But in truth, the conscious part of us human beings, of me as a person, it had no meaning to me. Throughout my life, the truth is I confronted some difficulties and started a meditation path at the beginning, which led to so many other things. And through that path is that I would tell you, more than learn what consciousness is, I'd say I encountered consciousness. It just came up. So, but it was Zhineng Qigong, the practice that by far has been the one more which has allowed me to experience it the most. And from there, then throughout everything else that I do, I've been able to be in consciousness, so to say.
So how would you define consciousness today? What is it for you?
Well, it is easier to experience it than to define it with words. I always say that sometimes words come short and it is very difficult to put in words some things, some concepts, and consciousness is one of those. But if I had to describe it, I'd say it is awareness of just being aware, the stepping up from awareness to just being aware of being aware. Probably that's the way I would define it.
Right. And when you say it is easier to experience than to describe it, how does it show up in your experience? What is this experience like?
At first, and let me start by saying this, at first, and it was through Zhineng Qigong that I started having this experience of something that is transpersonal, that transcends the body, the daily, very physical and material experience that I was used to, and that probably most of us are very used to. And I started by experimented in meditation, in practice, through probably the Zhineng Qigong movements, this ability to be in contact with something transpersonal, but knowing that it is who I am as well. So and at the beginning, very much in practice. But what has happened through time is that I'm able to be in contact with this part as much as I want to. Now I go from that experience to my daily and actual life.
So if I try to put this into simple words, what you're saying is that the experience of a consciousness means for you that you have transcended your body, your limited idea of this is Gabriela, and transcended into more than that. So basically, encompassing everything else. And then you said, if you the moment you transcend that, you understand also that this is what you are. So not the limited, person, Gabriela. This is me. This is my body. This is my thought. That you are all of that. Is that what you're saying here?
Yeah, pretty much so. Yes, yes, yes.
And how does it affect your everyday life experience then? So what has changed? Because you said that when you started this journey, you were facing some challenges in your life, and so there was a reason why you were looking for a path to consciousness. So how has it transformed your life?
In so many ways, and I can say that now I didn't notice it throughout time, but in hindsight, if I today take a look at my life 10 years ago, I'd say that pretty much everything was, in essence, very, very different. I am a mother of three. No, I probably started this, yes, around 9 or 10 years ago. Right now, they are 20, 18, and 15. 10 years ago, they were 10, 8, and 5. And I'm talking about this as an example because, for starters, I was a working mom with a hectic life, with three kids, with a lot of structure and discipline, probably very strict. And if you ask my children now, they don't even remember that mother today. They'd say,
Right.
"Mom, you are always calm. You are always." It's not that I was not loving, but loving in probably a harsher word, no way that I'm right now. Um, so when I started looking at changes in my life, I saw them as like that, with my family, with my environment, in my workplace, in like it was easier to see it affecting other people, which was mind blowing for me because I was starting a path for myself. I thought this will change me. The truth is, it doesn't change you. You are who you are, and I think this is just like taking away all these veils that allow you to be your whole self, your true self, and that reflects on life, no, on life, on your family, on the things you do, on the plans ahead. I even say on your memories, no, what happened, but the way you look at it and what you do with that, if you are in a, let's say, more stable state of consciousness, changes. So that's where I see a change in my life. It is very profound, but as well, it is very practical and yeah, daily. No.
When I listen to you, it seems to me because you compare yourself to 10 years ago, and you said, of course, you were also a loving mother, but it seems to me that at that point there was a lot of pressure upon you, and that made you come across harsher because you were like stressed and you want to do things right, and there's so many things that go on, and then obviously that has an impact on your relationships. And
Mm-hmm.
it seems to me that through the work that you've done and the consciousness that you've created here, that you could let go of that pressure, and you can show up, as the gentle woman that you are, and that transforms the relationships, and that not just Now you're making the focus now on the other people, but I'm sure also for you it makes a big impact because you must feel so much more relieved and at ease with life and with your relationships than the constant pressure to to perform or to achieve certain things or to make sure things are right. Um, is that kind of, is that a good way of summing up, how your relationships have changed and how things have changed for you?
Yes, it is. It is. And I'm talking about like the external world around me, because that was very obvious for me, no? Looking at the changes there. But of course, the one who was becoming her own self was me. This is just a reflection. And and I like very much the term showing up. The way I show up for myself and the way I show up in the world, that is what is different. And
Right.
so it is a whole new perspective, I'd say.
We have a way you can discover Qigong. So at the Zhineng Qigong Student Hub, we know that understanding Qigong is very important. And also that Zhineng Qigong in itself has various nuances that people can't easily comprehend. So we've approached it in the style of a video game. On this page, Discover Qigong, you can select your character. So you can either be a beginner, a practitioner, or a holistic healer or self-healer. And you click on your character and it takes you to these different sections. In these sections, you can explore the nuances. And when you click on a card, all of the resources pop up, and we've made it really fun, and not many people know about it. So if you are interested, have a look and discover Qigong.
I also noticed that you said that for you, you wouldn't necessarily experience the change you were going through on a daily basis. But now, when you look back at who you were, then the change is apparent. And I think this is an interesting a lesson for all of us, because often when we practice or we do this work in awareness, we don't necessarily experience that today is so different than yesterday. But if we then look back to half a year ago or a year ago or something like that, then we say, wow, things that today I take for granted in terms of what I understand of how I show up is so different from what it was like, 6 months or a year ago, or in your case, even 10 years ago. And that I think should encourage people, not to necessarily after each session make a check and say, yeah, I'm better now or not so good or whatever. It's a process and it's a journey. And sometimes you need to look over longer time spans to actually realize what you have achieved. Because it's not so obvious on a daily basis, right? Let's look into what have you done practically. Now, how did you do the consciousness work? Because some of our listeners might now say, okay, well, I want that for myself. But how did she do it? What exercises did she do, or what did she focus on, or how did she structure her day to be able to do these things? Maybe you can talk a little practical here.
Well, I'll start by saying how I started this path was by taking a meditation course. And I said, I want to learn to meditate. And from there, many things happened. But I am an engineer. I am a chemical engineering. That is my profession. I am very structured, very analytical. I love logical thinking and rationality. That's the way I develop always. So when the first times that I sat on a cushion and tried to meditate and I perceived something different, I needed this structure and this academic approach even. So after a couple of years of this, having meditation and healing, I applied for a master's in consciousness studies. in an academic setting that was my approach, because that was my background, and I needed to sit in a class and write notes and have a teacher telling me what it was. So
I hope Gabriela, it sounds as funny to you today as it sounds to me right now.
And I actually met one Zhineng Qigong teacher during that time, and once I was having a conversation with him, and I said I'm studying a master's in a U.S. university on consciousness, and he said, we Chinese people have been doing this for thousands of years, and you are going to an actual classroom and listening to someone to tell you what it is. And he laughed, and he said, and someone is paying these teachers how many thousands or millions of dollars to teach others. And he said, you Western people, you are very funny. And then I told this to one of my main teachers in the degree, and she said, he gave you the cosmic laugh. And that day I understood something. And actually during the next months that we were in class, she often referred to what we're experiencing right now is Gabriela's Zhineng Qigong teacher giving her the cosmic laugh. No, it became a term, the cosmic laugh of my Zhineng Qigong teacher, and I started to understand this is not something that you learn in a classroom or that you take notes. But I, at the same time, started a Zhineng Qigong practice. And that's why I tell you that that's where I started having the experience. I had all the notes. I had read, not all the books, but many. I had the teachers. I had the classroom. But just by doing Lachi very simply, that was one of the first practices or exercises where I realized something is happening here, and probably all the information that I had on me at that point, of course, built it up and allowed this to happen. But it was not until I started, and practically I started by doing Zhineng Qigong level 1. That was it. The first time I did it, I understood nothing. Now I know there's nothing to understand, but rather to experience. But I got tired. I didn't know how to flow, if I needed to know that by memory or not, or I was actually uncomfortable probably at the beginning. But I'd say that having the intention to continue made all the difference. And I don't know how long it took, but probably just a couple of months to start living this very structured state of logical thinking that I lived in all the time. When I tell you all the time, it was all the time. In my dreams, when I woke up, when I took my children to school, when I went to work, and suddenly finding this space, I'd say, where all that, it's not that it disappeared, but where all that didn't affect me, right. Didn't. Mm-hmm. And at first, the practice was very physical, very movements. Level 1, open, close. My approach to Zhineng Qigong has been very paused. I practiced level 1 for more than a year, probably 2, until I went to the next one. And after 7 years, I'm starting to learn level 3, for example. I've given it the time to sink in, to become one with the exercises, with the levels, and that's the way I've approached it.
Now, when you think of level 1, I mean, most of the time, if somebody is new to Zhineng Qigong and go to a teacher and they are taught to lift Qi up or La Qi, we don't necessarily talk much about consciousness or about awareness. But the essence of level one is the idea of opening up to the universe and then closing or absorbing the universe. So in a way, it is exactly what you were talking about before. It is transcending who you are by having the chief exchange between the limited you and the broader you, which is everything. So I can totally understand that without maybe even knowing what you were doing or why this had an effect on your consciousness, you did feel something because, as you said, it was the intention to continue to keep you going. So there must have been something in the exercise that you intuitively felt is doing you good and is a good path, right?
Absolutely. And we started this conversation by saying I didn't even know what the meaning of the word consciousness was. When I started that practice, I still didn't know what the meaning of consciousness was, but now I know. I started to touch consciousness, to experience it, and it is in hindsight that now I can tell you that was my first big mind-blowing experience. But even then I couldn't tell you, oh, of course this is just moving to a higher state of consciousness. I wouldn't have described it as that.
Yes. But even now, when you told me about that, I could see that outbreak of joy when you spoke about it. It's nearly as if there was some euphoria about it. So it seems to me that you had really discovered something new that wasn't part of your life before, where it was all about structure and logic. And now suddenly, you've got these experiences there that seem to have quite an emotional dimension to it because you've been opening up new doors for yourself and for life that before that just weren't present, right?
Absolutely, yes.
All right. So if you talk to your children today, how does it affect them, if I may ask? I mean, if it's not something you would like to talk about, don't do it. But
No.
can you see that it has an effect on how they go through their life as well? Does it change because they're probably maybe more open or more easier to show up their loving self? I'm just making it up now here because I can imagine that this is an effect. But you tell me, please.
Can I tell you an anecdote, an experience of one of them?
Of course,
Because
of course.
it sums it up very beautifully, I think. One, as I tell you, I'm a chemical engineering, and then I have an MBA, and I worked in business for 15 plus years. And so one of my kids' friends, he was 17, he's 18 right now, asked me, Gabi, why do you do this? If you're an engineer, if you worked in business all your life, if you love chemistry and biology, how come you are practicing? He asked me, what is Zhineng Qigong? So I explained it very simply. And he said, it makes no sense to me that you, among everybody, are doing this. So we started having a conversation. I was kind of in a hurry. I left, and then I told Andre, my son, your friend was very inquisitive, and he was telling me, you're leaving the placebo effect, and I don't buy this. And well, that was a 10-minute conversation, and I left, and I told this to Andre, and and he said, Mom, are you really talking about these things with my friends? Please don't. It's weird. But then he left. And the next day he came and he said, this guy came to me and said, I spoke to your mom about this, and it makes no sense. And this kid of mine, he's going to study biochemistry. He's very much into science. He's pretty rational and analytic, but he has his mom, so he all the time is listening to what I say. And so this friend comes up and says, it makes no sense. And when Andre told him, I asked him, no, what did you answer? And he said, I just told him, you don't know my mother, but I do. And my mother, she's intelligent, she's prepared, she has a career to master's degree. She's worked all her life, and I respect her. but you don't know her. She has had a challenging life, and she has encountered some difficulties. And this prepared woman didn't find all the answers either in science or in business or in her daily life as productive and as successful as it was. But since she started practicing the things that she does right now, her life and ours changed. We started living better, and that is my experience, and that's what I can tell you. And if that's a placebo effect, so be it, because a placebo effect is a description of what's going on with us, if you want to give it that name. But that's what happened to my mom. When he said that, I said, okay, from the perspective of this kid who had this chemical engineer mom working all day and in the corporate life, to what he has right now, and in these years, how he has lived his life and how he perceives what's going on. I wouldn't have thought he would have given that answer, no? Right. But that's what he said, and so that's pretty much how they live it. And he even told me, I still don't believe everything you said, but I haven't experienced it, Mom. And everything, of course, he gives the benefit of the doubt, because what he says is, I look at you and I look at us, and it works. So there's something there. And probably I'm too young, but there's something there. So more or less.
I think it's a wonderful story that you just shared, because first of all, it shows what a gift it was that you gave to the whole family. And I had a conversation earlier today with a Qigong teacher from Slovenia, and we were speaking about doesn't really matter, but the idea there was that people in your environment, even if they don't practice, they benefit from your work, and there's a part of them, even if they would be critical and skeptical about Zhineng Qigong and don't believe in it and so on, but there's a part of them that consciously picks up there's something about it that must be working, because that is based on the result, based on the experience they made with you. And I think this is something that we leave in our environment, because often we are frustrated. I'm not talking about you now and your kids, because they seem to be pretty open and accepting towards it. But often we have people in our environment that completely reject what we're doing in Zhineng Qigong. But even those people, now there's a part of them unconsciously that will recognize that there is some benefit in it. There is something in it that creates value and that is beautiful, just through the way we show up when we practice and when we are in the Zhineng Qigong state. So even those people that reject and will frustrate us, because sometimes we want them to practice it because we know it would do them good, but even those people benefit from our practice. Obviously in your case and your children, they are far more evolved, and that they're open to these things and can see what the change and the transformation that's happened. So I'm not talking about your children here. They're wonderful, and I think it's great. But I just wanted to make this point here, because I know there are people at the other end of the spectrum, and still now I know that there's something within them that benefits through my practice or your practice. So I think this is a great anecdote that you shared as a closing point here, and it makes me very happy. And I'm sure you'll get a lot of love and chi from our listeners today for what you have achieved here. So congratulations, Gabriela, and thank you very much for this conversation. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule, but I'm also glad that you've discovered all these tools for you, and that you're sharing them with the people in your life and with your students. Do you have a website?
I don't.
You don't? Okay, so how can people get in touch with you if they want to talk to you or something?
After being in social media for so many years, the day I started, I I left work, the corporate world. I closed all my social media. I don't have a website.
So here's what we do. Everybody who wants to stay in touch with you, just re-listen to this podcast over and over and over again. And that way they're in touch with you.
And if anybody asks, you can give them my information. I sure don't mind that, but I don't have a website. I don't have an Instagram account. I just don't.
Okay. Very advanced. Very advanced. Thank you very much, Gabriela.
Thank you very much. I love being here, Thurston. Thank you.
We trust you enjoyed this conversation, and we invite you to subscribe to our podcast so we can stay in touch and notify you of future episodes. We will end today's episode with the 8 verses meditation performed by Zhineng Qigong teacher Katrin Hendricks. Enjoy. To get your free ebook on the 8 verses meditation, please check the show notes below.